Well, I wonder if you can see what I can't see. It feels like I've been dealing with this, a lot. The same thing comes up over and over and over. And today and yesterday especially, it feels like there's a kink in the hose that I can't see how to unkink this. It's like I'm being, there's one thing. It's like one thing that I can't get a handle on.
Mm-hmm. And we've known you a long time, so we're not going to mess around, right? We're just going to be blunt.
Right, yes, please.
Straightforward.
Yep.
If you didn't have financial problems, you would have to really monitor your mind so much more. Because worrying about money, being upset about money, talking to Tony about money, being confused about money, not having enough money, all these things that you've dealt with. And you've evolved your relationship too, but like you said, right? Mm-hmm. We're at the nitty-gritty of it now.
Yeah.
If every time you had one of those thoughts, instead of that, you actually were asking for insight and shutting up long enough for insight to have a chance to make some inroads, imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So if all of a sudden you didn't have money problems, then a whole big identity, maybe not a great identity, but sure enough an identity, familiar suffering, would have to go someplace else. And are you ready?
Yes, I feel like I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then every time you think about money, especially when you're not actually having to spend it, right? Because there's the I need to think about money because the check has come and we need to figure out the tip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's I need to think about money because rent is due and I'm, searching under the couch cushions for some change. And I need to think about money because it's Tuesday. You have an opportunity to use this thing that you are extremely familiar with, which is thinking about money, to take this to the next step like we've just been talking about. Every single time you think about money in any way, shape, or form, is an opportunity now for you to say, I refuse to be unconscious about this.
Okay.
Now, and it's, do I have money? Do I need to spend money right now? No, but I'm still thinking about money. Is there a bill in my hand or a bill in the mailbox? No, but I'm still thinking about money. What could I be using my brain for that I'm just giving over to a habitual kind of laziness, right? I'll just think about money instead. Now, you can substitute boyfriend, girlfriend, house getting repossessed, business not doing well, car not working right, whatever your current thing is. You've all got one for what we're talking to Randy about, right? So you're just being brave standing up there. Every single time. And for you, we're going to give you big homework because you asked for it.
Yeah, I want it.
You get yourself a notebook and we want you to make a note every single time you think about money.
Okay.
Carry it, do it in your phone or whatever you have around. Wednesday at 9:14, put money in the donation box, whatever, next time I thought about money.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to take this as far as you can, you be really, really diligent about this, but also what is true now? So, driving home from here, you need to get gas in the car and you think, oh man, I don't have any money. Okay, stop the car, get your notebook out. Driving home from the meeting, I thought about money. I thought I don't have money. What is true now? What is true now? I have enough gas to get home. I have $5. I'll put $5 in. And I felt lack while I did it. I felt shame while I did it. I felt burdensome while I did it. I felt like I will never get out of this while I did it. I felt like how many times do I have to have this problem while I did it? This is the kind of consciousness we're talking about, folks. You see how we said we're not messing around? That's the level we're talking about. Whatever your thing is, you've all got one. Randy's is easy because it's been the same one for 7 years.
Yes.
It has.
It's been longer than that, but
Well,
I've just known you that
right?
long.
It's been the same issue, and you've gone layer after layer after layer after layer. Same with Heidi, right? We went through the service mentality for years about that, and look where you got it now, right? So we're at a brink. Can you feel it? We're at a brink.
Yeah, I felt that. Actually, I said that to Veronica today, and I said it to somebody else too. Today, actually, just today, it felt like the dam is ready to break open.
Yeah. And the thing is there's an energy, not just in you, a common energy that something will happen to make it break open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were trying to say earlier. It's not something will happen and you will change. It doesn't work that way. You change and it ripples out. The ripples don't come in. We cannot convince you of one damn thing. And if we can't convince you of it, we're pretty sure, since you trust us, the rest of the world can't convince you of it.
Right.
You have to decide. And then you show us. And then we clarify what you show. What have you done, Mary? Hold that thought. Mary had a moment. Hold that thought. No, it says it's recording still. Yeah. Okay, we're not going to pay attention to you. It looks all perfect on our end. It is. Okay, good.
So let me.
Yeah.
I get that when there's nothing to pay and I think that there's something to pay. Well, now there's something that hasn't been paid for 2 months.
Okay, we have something that hasn't been paid for 2 months.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
See how that works?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's no money to pay it, but there is money to pay it if I pay it with what I have now, but then there won't be enough for rent that's due next week. And oh my gosh. Okay. I get my notebook. I have a lot of notebooks.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And what we would like to ask you to do, and you don't have to say yes or no now, we'd like you to bring your notebook next week.
Okay.
Because we actually believe in you that you can do this. And we know what kind of a difference it can make in your life. And we would like that example. And if you write one thing in your notebook and then you never write in it again and you come to us and you say, I couldn't do it, then we'll modify this tool. But we know you're a go-getter and you get shit done and you deserve to love yourself this much.
Okay. This is something I know I can do this. And I like writing. So, and I like being conscious and I like being aware. Mm-hmm. And so this will help me a lot. So thank you.
It's good documentation. And who knows, you make a book later.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. There you go. Thanks.
Right? Yeah. Have fun with it. Okay.
Well, I don't want to tell a long, drawn-out tale. I'm tired of stories.
Well, we think that's a mighty fine freaking place to start, and we appreciate that. We were settling in here.
Yeah,
we got the chocolate. We were going to get the water bottle out, but that's actually more fun to us.
Yeah.
Where's that water bottle?
Everything since the last meeting we had.
Did
I
you
went
do your
home.
list?
I sure did.
How'd
I have my little notebook. It went fantastic, and it changed my life. Stirred up all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And now I've got the, head.
We'll go into that later. Keep
Okay.
going with your story.
Well,
that's not a story.
Yeah, it ended up writing down a few things. In fact, writing down a lot of stuff about money immediately, and I realized how much it never stopped. Money was always on my mind. I went, just for example, sat down in the bathroom and looked over and saw the garbage can that was overflowing. So instead of my first thought of being, I need to take the garbage out, it was like, I don't know when the last time I paid that bill. I don't think I got that bill recently. I think the bill's coming in another couple of weeks. And last time I had
that thought.
Yeah.
Got it. Sinking in. Go ahead.
Okay. So through all of this and constantly writing and then saying what's true now. Wow. It's always what's true now, following all of my thoughts like you suggested
and
to
what
write.
Did you find was true?
Let me look.
She's got her book with her.
I have my booklet with me.
We're very happy you have your book with you because we were wondering if you were going to bring it or not.
Yes, I did. I have all these pages.
Gold star for Randy.
Yay. What's true now? The very first thing, what's true now? I said, thinking about money that Tony deposited and where it should go. What bill to want... I wrote this fast. What's true now? Pay. Other bills are due now. I'm not paying rent on time equals getting dead. That's what was true now. And the thing was, I was worried about paying rent before it was really, really due.
And the thing we have to remind you of, too, is what is true now doesn't have to associate with the thing that's on your mind. Mm-hmm. Remember, so like the one you told you're sitting down in the bathroom looking at the overflowing trash can, it can be, I need to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to focus that as my what is true now, right?
Yeah.
So did you get to that point, or did all your what is true nows have to do about what really is going on financially?
A lot of it, well, in the beginning, it was what was going on financially. And
oh, you really did write them down.
I wrote a lot.
How many pages did you write?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I could have written more. I wrote from the 27th through July 8th.
Did anyone else write things down?
It's very powerful.
No one else wrote anything down? Veronica even did it. You guys didn't do it? Wow.
Yeah.
That's fascinating to us. Okay. Maybe you guys didn't need this one. Randy sure did. So
I sure did.
We'll go back to being with you.
Yeah. Well, what I wrote was what's true now, feeling inadequate.
There you go.
When something came up.
That's where we want to get to.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that's what you can change. That the obsessive thinking about money covers up what you can really make a change in. Money just becomes the placeholder, just fills up the space. It's the sound of the TV in the other room. Turn it off. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and then it ended up, can I transform these thoughts that I have to have a different feeling? What is it that I really want? Why am I focusing on money all the time? Just to feel peace and bliss and not allowing it to pull me in different directions. And through all of this, I ended up seeing a woman, this homeless gal.
Yeah, before you do that,
okay.
Internet people, did any of you write anything down? Like, we're concerned about this. Why didn't you guys write anything down? You wrote some stuff down. We're concerned. We're going to come back to you all. This is concerning us. This was important. Veronica made it the YouTube video. I mean, people, are any of these internet people even, can they hear us? You guys there? Go ahead, Randy.
And one of the things I wrote about on July 4th, I woke up angry from a dream where I was yelling at other beekeepers about how to care for bees, and everyone around me had different ideas, and I just blew up, and I woke up realizing I can't keep up the internal fight to be right. And what's true now, write my own book if I want my voice heard. And then
do you see?
Yeah. And do I really want my voice heard? And what will happen if my voice is heard? And I feel a nervous stomach again.
Maybe you all need a notebook.
Yeah. It's really powerful.
Hinting. All right. Homeless woman.
One really.
Okay.
I had aha. I had a lot of ahas, but one of the first ahas that I had is my roots, color my hair, and my roots were showing. I have gray roots. And looking in the mirror, and I'm like, God, if I don't get my hair done pretty soon, I'm going to kill somebody, right? Because I was just tired looking at the roots and not thinking I had $100 or $110 to take care of this. So I'm writing it down, pissed off again. I don't think I have the money to get my hair. Wait a minute. I know I don't have the money to get my hair. I don't know that it's going to cost that. And I had this big aha. I could call her and ask her if she would exchange with me, if I could watch her bees, or if I could, help her with her bees, because I know she has bees. And then I said, well, I don't really want to do that. So what else is there?
This is so great.
And
right there, we're going to stop you.
Yeah.
Don't lose track.
Okay.
Right there, instead of going to the first and only idea that is outside of your truth, you didn't go into lack at that moment. You didn't go into lack of ideas. You see?
Yeah.
It's like, I could take care of her bees. I don't want to take care of her bees. I have to take care of her bees in order to get my hair done. I hate my hair. Right? No, you went, hang on. So what'd you do?
So what I did was I kind of just sat with it, and I just had the aha that there's other ways to get my hair done. And what other ways might there be? And one of them, with the bees, I sat with that a long time. Why don't I want to go over and help her with her bees? And for so many reasons that came up, don't need to talk about. So I ended up calling her, and I said, hey, all I need is my roots done, and I need my bangs trimmed a little. And I'm in, this financial bind right now. And so she said, okay, we'll come over and I'll do it. It's $45. I'm going to put it on, and you go home and you take care of the rest. I don't have to spend my time blow drying it, blah, blah, blah. Saves me money, or time saves you money. So I did that yesterday. I'm like, sweet. I can totally do that. And that felt really super good. And I look in the mirror and I like,
Now you feel like you can take on the world.
yeah. And then so then all of this led me into synchronistically running into this homeless woman, or seeing this homeless
now
woman.
we're on to the homeless woman story. Just kick off the energetics.
Okay. I see this lady holding a sign in the driveway of Costco waving.
What's the sign say?
I don't know. I never read it. I never saw her sign, but she was obviously needing help, asking for money, whatever.
But she was waving.
She was waving.
Part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Devin. I see Devin. I'm like, oh my God, that's my daughter. And brings up tears.
Because she looked a lot like your
She
daughter.
looked a lot like Devin. So she had these big long dreadlocks. The waving looked like Devin. And I thought, I'd never seen anybody stand asking for money, waving with this kind of energy before. That really, I went, wow. And all these people were driving by her. And so I pulled in, and I only had a certain amount of money with me. And I calculated my money because I said, I'm giving her some money. I want to help her out. So I went by, waited finished my shopping, got back in line, all these cars. And I thought I could go around and avoid her. No, I'm going to wait and get into the line of cars to give her this $10. I've never given anybody $10. I've given people money all the time. Nobody's ever affected me like this woman. So anyway, I get in line, and while I'm in line waiting to get out the exit where she is, my phone rings, and it's my hairdresser going, hey, I got your message. Now this is what we can do. So I'm talking to my hairdresser, making this great deal. And then I lean out the window and hand this woman the $10, and she bursts into tears, grabs my hand. Oh my God, thank you so much. You're an angel. And I'm like, hang on a second, Susan. I'm like, it's okay. And I'm tearing up. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't know what the deal is. So I said, no, you're my good luck charm. I know it. And I'm out because cars are coming, So I drive home, and she's on my mind the rest of the day. And I'm like, I can't get this woman out of my mind. I'm like, what is the deal there? What is the deal? So about 8 o'clock that night, I was laying down, kind of resting a little bit because of the neck thing and everything, neck hurting. And I said, I've got to see if I can find her. So I got up. I told Tony, I'm going to go find this lady. And so I leave. And he's like, oh, okay. Because I came home going, oh my God, this woman, I can't believe it. And so I go driving around, and she's not there because Costco's closed. And so I have this about 5-minute drive. I'm like, I'm not ready to go home. And I'm like, son of a bitch, why do I'm yelling in the car. I'm yelling at myself. I am done with this suffering. I know she's showing me script holding, obviously. And she's standing there literally showing me, she needs help. She's asking for help. She's in a good mood. She wasn't in a good mood when I came out to give her the money. She stopped waving by that time. And I'm like, oh, God, she's showing me somebody who's been beaten down in a 20-minute period. And I get it. And so I'm yelling, and I'm saying, enough with this mindset, enough with all this stuff. And what do I do if I even see her?
The mindset being limitation?
Yeah, the mindset being the survival instinct always cutting in about the lack of money. We have to suffer. There's not enough, This is what you end up doing. If you let the mind take over, you'll end up standing in front of Costco with a sign, instead of soaring on the Concorde, if it was still around. Anyway, I drive around, I'm yelling, and I'm just like crying, and I'm like, enough of the suffering. And I drive around the corner, and there she is, standing there, holding a sign. It's almost dark. And then her kids, I didn't know she had kids. I thought, I'll buy her a hotel room for the night. At least I can do more. I can do more for this woman. And so I see her with her kids. I pull over. I flag her over. What do you need? What do you need right now? And she goes into this, she tells long stories. I go, stop the story. Just let's cut to, what do you need right now? So I ended up gathering her and her kids, went and got her something to eat, got them all something to eat. She's crying, oh my God, you're so hell, I can't believe it. And I said, I'm going to buy you a week. She's staying in a hotel. She's been there for a year, living in one room with 4 people, 2 beds. We went there yesterday. Anyway. So I said, oh my God, I can do this for her. Here I am complaining about not having my own money. I have my credit card with some money left on it. She obviously needs help. She is living my worst nightmare. And I'm seeing this woman who's living my worst nightmare going, wow, it didn't get her dead. So really the bottom line is, if she's living my worst nightmare and I can help her out, and she's obviously kind of okay. She's an educated woman. She's done jobs. She's got all this stuff going on. She just got herself caught up in this thing that she couldn't see over the top. And I said, if my worst nightmare is no longer the fear that I had, then what fills that space anymore?
Okay, wait a second. Do you guys feel that?
So
the woman script told for Randy her worst fear, and Randy stands up here and shows you so you don't have to do it. You don't have to look at your worst fear in the way Randy did. This is the positive side of script holding. You're feeling it? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I went on, the first night that I met her, I went back, and when I first met her, when I gave her the $10, I went back and Facebooked. Oh my God, I saw this woman, blah, blah, blah. Gave her $10. That was end of story. Then when I found her again and I came back home that night, I Facebooked again, continuing saga of this thing. She needs help. She's got 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. If anybody wants to donate, great. And I'm crying off and on for 2 days. The third day, I'm like, all right.
Okay, so why did you cry off and on for 2 days?
Every time I thought about it, I felt this, my heart, for a couple of reasons. My heart was opening in an unusual way that I'm not used to. Mm-hmm. And also, wow, that's me. And also, I don't want to go into service mentality here either. And, and I don't have to live that in order to see that I can transform myself. I don't have to.
You guys getting this?
Yeah.
Internet people, you listening? Go ahead, Rand.
So, I had gathered so many people gave me money, and some donated, and all of that through PayPal, a couple $100. And she also told me she's behind like, $1,200 at the hotel, and they were nice enough to let her stay there so far too. And so then the third day that I saw,
of course, she's behind on her rent, right?
Yeah. And
it's not I haven't paid the school tuition. Mm-mm. It's not I haven't paid the car payment.
Right.
It's your thing.
Right.
Behind on the rent.
Right.
Behind on the rent. Behind it.
So the second night, I had some money gathered for her, and I called her and I said, I've got money. She goes, oh, that's great. I'm over here and I'll meet you in a few minutes. Turned out she was with some drama friend and some story going on. And I was waiting, and then she texted me, I'll be there in another 20 minutes. And so I said, I'll meet you over here. And so I sat there and had Tony come with me. And because I said, I want you to meet her and see if I'm, if you get what I'm getting. And, so we were sitting in the parking lot, and then I'm like, no, this isn't working for me anymore. She's taking too long. So I write her back, and I said, yeah, gotta go. Call you tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. She goes, oh no, I'll just be there in 20 minutes and blah, blah. I said, no, I'll call you tomorrow.
That's how you know you're not in service mentality, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you still have boundaries.
Yeah. So then
if you didn't have boundaries, you'd be in service mentality.
And I told her, I said, a year ago, I would have been sitting there till midnight waiting for you, and then all pissed off, handing you the money and resentful for the rest of my life.
You were a victim.
Exactly.
You were a victim of helping her.
Yeah,
Instead,
exactly.
You had boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then I met her I said, look, I want to meet you and I want to talk with you.
We're on day 3.
We're on day 3.
You finally got past
all the emotion,
crazy fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you get back into your own power.
Okay, now what's really on the table? What really needs to be done? What do you really need? I am not going to throw money at you. I'm going to turn on the light and leave.
Okay, so what Randy's referring to there, this is a tool that came out of somebody else's teachings, but it's too damn good to pass up. And that is that you go in, you turn on the light, and you leave. You don't walk in and, did you see that light? Do you see it? It's a light bulb. Do you see it? Do you see it? The switch, the light, the switch, the light, the switch. You turn on the light.
Mm-hmm. You don't shake shoulders. You don't shake her shoulders. And yeah. Mm-hmm. So she had texted me a lot between then, and I'll talk to her when I'm ready to talk to her. That's right. Mm-hmm. And then I called her and said, can we meet at this time? Yes. So we
you need to teach her the short factual statement tool like ASAP if you're going to interact with her.
Yeah.
That's the first tool to teach her.
Yeah. And we had to talk about that. So I said, okay, I'm going to meet you at the juice shack place, So she showed up. I handed her the money. And I said, I'm going to let you buy me a juice. And she said, okay. And I said, this is like friends just going out. Everything's groovy, right? I'm not here to, oh gosh, everything's terrible. No judgments, nothing. This is just you and I exchanging. And here you go. Some people wanted to help you out. I said, but I have a few things I want to talk to you about. So she said, okay. So I sat down, I said, I just want you to know, really, this is about me. And I said, what you're showing me, I met you, and this is amazing for me. And I said, I know you have your thing and all that. I said, but you're showing me my worst nightmare. And I want to thank you for that. But you don't have to stay there,
Okay, so remember when we told you guys that someday you'd be with friends and you'd go out and there'd be a parking ticket on your car and you would say something like, wow, this is fascinating, or this is my first choice, and you change the freaking energetic?
Yeah. So I talked to her a little bit about it, and she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, stop apologizing. And I said, I really, not in a harsh way, but I'm like, you don't have to apologize anymore for anything. Okay. Especially with me. And you don't have to answer any of my questions, but I am curious about a few things. I said, if you want, take it. Here's the envelope. Tell me to fuck off and leave. And that's okay. I have no problem with that. Well, I'm so sorry last night. It was so disrespectful. I said, what was disrespectful? And I had texted her, it's okay for you to tell me that you're busy and you'll see me tomorrow. I texted her that the night before. And I said, what was disrespectful to you and to me, I think, was you not being truthful. That's all.
What is true now? Do you see how what is true now? This is a different version of what is true now. If the woman had just spoken her truth, you could behave in her truth in a high vibrational way. Because she was, quote, not speaking her truth or lying or being, what people tend to do when they're unconscious. Mm-hmm. Basically, she was being unconscious. Mm-hmm. Is then you had to really hold a boundary to stay high vibrational with her. Whereas if she had just told you your truth, you could be high vibrational in a more easeful way. Okay, so that's why what is true now is the most powerful tool, because it cuts out all the static.
Yeah.
Then if you take responsibility for yourself, if you get triggered, it's not because of the static, it's because you are growing. There's nothing wrong with getting triggered these days, right? We don't mind getting triggered. We don't particularly want to do it. But if it happens, it's the fascinating sense of discomfort of growth rather than I'm going to get dead.
Well, the first thing happens is if I get triggered, and I did get triggered by a couple of things, I immediately looked at me. I didn't go to blame, didn't go into victimhood.
And we'll tell you right now, the reason you were able to do that is because you wrote in that notebook. You know that.
Oh,
right?
I know. I was as conscious as I think I am most of the time. That showed me how unconscious my thought patterns were up until the moment I closed my eyes to go to bed. My last thought at night. Well, I wonder where I'm going to get the money. Oh my God. It's just freaking habitual pattern that was never stopped before.
And if you hadn't had, let's call it the new neural pathways, just to use some language that we're all familiar with, if you hadn't had the new neural pathways, your interaction with this woman would have been so different.
She'd be living in my house. I would have, and her kids, and I would have brought her home and told my kids to move over to help these kids because they need more help than, all kinds of stuff could have happened. I would have given her more than I could have. As I said to Tony yesterday, I haven't given anything that I feel that I'm not able to give. Stops wherever. If I think that I can't, then I won't. And we had a computer. She needed a computer because after we had this talk, she's like, oh my God. I said, so after talking to her and hearing her responses of things, and I asked her a few questions, and she goes in these long dissertations, and I said, I don't want to hear the story. Okay, it's like...
Do you recognize what you're saying? I don't want to hear a story?
Yeah, I know. Me, the biggest storyteller on the planet. I know. It's painful to sit there and just take it in and, so, which is why I just want to be alone now most of the time, sleeping or laying there alone. I don't even want the input from all these people around me anymore who are not able to just tell me their truth. I can't hear the stories from people. So I'm like, I'm going to bow out of that because it's not a match for me right now. And then I have a couple of friends calling me, we want to talk to you and what's wrong. And and I'm like, no, you wouldn't understand. And I don't want to explain it. It's enough just to say, I'll see you later. So anyway, with this, so I finished talking with her. I felt, okay, she's being truthful with me about what she wants, what she really wants. She really feels like she wants to lift herself up out of the situation. Got a guy. Of course, there's always a man there. Kids, her father's, or kids of her father. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. that's where I went into judgment and triggers.
Apparently.
Yeah, around. So did Tony, by the way.
Your energy completely changed. Your whole story went.
Yeah. So
where did it go?
Yeah.
So let's back up.
Okay.
Back up.
She had told me that she had done really well when she left this man who's the father of her 2 kids, moved away, and for like 3 years, had it together. Her parents helped her a little bit, and then she was living in Portland for a while and doing fine. And then slowly but surely he came back into the picture. Mm-hmm. And I said, we've all been there, but you've got to make these choices.
Okay, now be careful here. This is the part where we have to work with you. You've done fine up until now.
Okay.
In fact, you've done extraordinary. And shall we all acknowledge that as a group? I mean, this is an extraordinary thing you've done. But here's where you're not extraordinary.
That's okay.
This is your non-extraordinary moment.
This is where
Really watch the we statements, especially in this kind of a dynamic. We've all been there. Because then that makes it just sound really like there's no escape, right? It's our burden as women to be in this situation. I had a similar situation in my life. So
I did tell her that too.
Yeah. So we want to really be careful about we statements in general. Speaking for everybody else, right? You've actually brought that up before, that you don't like when some people say we or all of us, right? So that's the other side of that coin. When you say we statements, who the hell is we? Right? It's like the ultimate they, right? You don't want to be beholden to they, and you don't want to be included in we. So don't put it out there that you're a we person, right? Don't be a we person.
Okay.
Because part of what is true now is making I statements. Rather than sort of dissipating what is true now into we, right? You can feel that. Well, we have this happen is a little bit like we talked about with you with your job thing. It's sort of woo-woo on the edges, right? I experienced this. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
We, in fact, made emphasis on it by saying it louder. But we could have said, I experienced this. It's still the same energetic.
Yeah. And I had said to her that my experience has been with men. I said, even my husband that I'm with now, when I first got together with him, was because of these reasons that are not these reasons any longer. I said, and it's not really about him. It's about you making the choice of where you want to be and who you want to surround yourself with and where you want to go. And I said, and I'm talking to myself here. And so what do you need now? And she said, well, what she needed was a computer so she could get online, and every job, not every job, but she was saying all the jobs, you have to apply online and then you have to follow through online, all that. And I said, I have a computer sitting in the closet. I will bring it over. Have my husband come over. We'll hook it up for you. And I said, I'll be there at 3:00.
Okay. Now we want to watch this, not because you're back in extraordinary land again, but we want to point out to you, because remember when you said this on Facebook or to Veronica in an email or whatever, her first thought and our first thought is, how freaking abundant is that? You have a computer that can change this woman's life laying around extra. So remember how we're always telling you when you're worried about abundance to go look at all the blades of grass or the leaves on the tree or the clouds in the sky? Apparently, look at the shit you have laying around in your closet too. Okay? Yeah. Right? So when you're worried you don't feel abundant, do you have stuff? So all that stuff represents a way of seeing abundance as well. And when you have stuff pared down to very important stuff, that's abundance in another way, right? So we just wanted to point out that's a way of seeing abundance. Like somebody says to you, well, this would change my life. And you're like, okay, I'll be there at 3:00. Because it's taking up room in our house.
Well, what I failed to mention was the day before money, all of a sudden I'm like, I can get money anytime I need it. Money is not an issue in this moment right now. And it hadn't been like that almost that whole day, where it was normally on my mind all the time. This woman in her situation kind of took place of that. But what it was how can I transform the situation? Not, I don't have the money to do it.
Yes. And what's really interesting is when you said it takes place, what we want to say there is it wasn't necessarily her situation that was taking place. It was how freaking conscious you had to be in order to interact with her that took the place. She just became the basket of stuff that you were grinding yourself to be conscious in every moment with her. And so you had action of consciousness instead of running unconsciousness. You guys got it? Good example, huh? And insight, right? Because you're asking.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So
yeah.
this
Well,
is
that was really funny because it was actually a physical sensation. Writing in my notebook, when I was writing my things when the thought came up, and I would write it in my notebook, I could feel my mind move over to the left, and then insight come through on the right, and I'm like, okay, and it happened a lot. So as soon as I wrote, everything went, and then boom. Yeah.
Do we need to give you notebooks? Would this help? Or do we have to pass them out? That's a little bit enabling, we think.
Yeah.
Next week, everybody bring a freaking notebook that you've written in. Can you just play along and see if it works? Whatever your obsessive thing is, look on the YouTube for last week's video because it's Randy standing up there. And whatever your main thing is that you obsess about. For Randy, it's money. Who knows what yours is? We could probably tell you, but we don't have time. You know what you obsess about, and maybe you have two of them that timeshare, right? Veronica had two. So what she did is she took her notebook, and on one side she kept track of the one, and on the other side she kept track of the other, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever your main obsessive thing is, every time it comes up, and that's the hard part, to be disciplined, but every time it comes up, you write down what you're obsessing about, and then you ask yourself, what is true now? And like Randy said, her truths were still about what she was obsessing about. But you can say, I'm worried about paying the garbage bill. Truth is, garbage bill isn't due, right? Or you could say, I'm worried about paying the garbage bill. I'd actually like to finish pooping first, right? I need to poop now, right? Could be your truth. Let it be that body-based, because body-based truths are so high vibrational. Even if my back hurts, that's skyrocketly high vibrational. Skyrockets. You can say, like right now, what is true now? We can see trees out that window. That is a very valid truth. It doesn't have to be, I feel sort of inspired in my heart chakra. We'd rather you say, I see a tree, than that. Because that realness cracks open the moment. And that's really what we're trying to do, is crack open the moment. Okay, keep going.
That felt like for the last few days, everything's been just cracking open and bubbling out layer after layer after layer after layer after layer.
Okay, where have you left it with this lady?
I left it with her. We delivered the computer yesterday, went into her room and saw the abundance that she has in this room, that she's collected, her and her family. Stuff, everything.
Looking for safety.
Yeah, everywhere. And also, and her partner, I guess you call him boyfriend, whatever.
Baby daddy
is
we love that
contractor,
so
and I looked and I said, well, are you able to put shelves up here? And he immediately jumped in with reasons why he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. And then I said, well, now, so Tony got them all hooked up. And actually the computer we gave them was Devin's old computer. And I called her and said, hey, I want to give this lady a computer before. And I said, there's one in our closet and there's one that you haven't touched for a year. Which one do you want to keep and which one do you want to give away? And she, well, I don't know, so and I said, I want you to come with me, because she was down in the dumps about a few things. I said, I would like you to come with me when we go to this woman's house, because I want to show you a different perspective. Do with it what you want. She had clothes that she was getting rid of to the Goodwill. I said, you haven't thrown those away or given to the Goodwill yet. Let's take them over, because Lori said she could use some clothes. And I said, she's got kids. She goes, well, I have some toys in there. I said, well, I'm going to let you give those to the daughter. And she did. Mm-hmm. So she got to experience a little bit of that and got to see her stuff. It wasn't a big, huge woohoo, but it was enough to shift a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because she opened up today about some things that was bothering her, which yesterday she wasn't willing to do that. So I left it with the lady. We gave her the computer. We set it up for her. We left. I said, I think there's a little bit more money coming in. When I receive that, I'll give it to you. And we set her up. Devin's leaving her job, and we gave her the address for her to go online and fill out an application for the job. And she texted me this morning, this is so great, the computer, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote back, did you get a chance to fill out that application on the Resource Plus line? And, well, I tried, la, 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 la. And I didn't respond to any of that.
And that's where you have to really watch the line, right? because you're a go-getter, get shit done. It's perfectly obvious to you what she could do, how she should behave. Just like we could go around the circle and each of you would have a good answer for something you've heard somebody say in the circle. Like, why do you still do that? Or can't you see? And didn't you notice? Why haven't you? Right? That energy that comes up. That's a subtle kind of judgment, right? So we want to be really careful about that, because the why don't you is because it's their big thing and it's not your big thing. So, be grateful it's not, because you don't need more than one big thing. So let that person have that be their big thing. Don't let it be your big thing. So in this moment, you've done extraordinary. We caught you on the man thing. That's, we want you to spend
And I caught myself too, can I just say, because I was very tempted to say, and now Richard could go online and look for something for himself too.
Yeah.
And no.
Yeah. Well, what we'd like you to do in your book is keep track of the man feelings.
Okay.
Because it's under there in a way that just do it.
Yeah,
I
will.
I'm just going to give that as your assignment, and we can talk about it next week. So right now with her, the temptation would be to follow up with her instead of let her ask.
Actually, that's in my mind, because I said I don't want to follow up with her. I told her that too, and I said the same thing to my kids. From now on, you guys are all adults here. You need to ask if you need something. Yeah. And I saw her asking, standing there, and I even told her, I said, I don't even know what your sign said, but I just saw you needed help. This is the help I'm going to give. And I didn't even say, if you need more help, ask me.
That's right.
I just thought to myself, I'm waiting, and then deciding when I get asked, if I do.
Yes. So this is really interesting. We think it was last week or the week before it came up that we were talking about how at some point you guys get, when you're in level 8, right, you start to watch your creations move. Remember we said watch it move? And somebody said to us, we don't know where, but somebody said to us, well, will that make us like creators in the way you were creators? And we said, yes, that's actually what's going to happen. Like level 9 is going to be about that. We're not going to talk about level 9, but we're just saying that's what happens. So part of what we have made very clear to you guys since the beginning is we cannot go where you do not invite us, right? You understand that? Mm-hmm. So you have to let her open doors, and then you get to decide if they're doors you're interested in accompanying her through.
Right.
You're at that point now.
Okay.
Like in a way, we could say it this way. It's not 100% accurate, but it makes sense. You've used up the free will she's already offered. Right? Like with you guys, sometimes you ask us enough stuff and we take it to a point and then we wait. We wait for you to say, please take it further. So she's kind of used up the pot of free will, or you guys have used up the pot of free will. And now you're really at an edge where it's all about, is she going to step into a new life, or is she going to stay and have it? Right? Mm-hmm. This is so blatant when you see it in this kind of a situation. She's empowered, right? She has the tools, wink, wink, right? She has the tools. Is she going to use them? Mm-hmm. And you just have to sit back and say,
yeah, and I found myself feeling a little, what if she calls me all the time? What if she wants all this? And I'm like, stop. No.
Is right. And when you next see her, we'd like to give you this little challenge. When you next see her with some money or whatever, don't ask her how she is doing.
Okay.
Don't ask her how she's doing. Don't ask her how the job's going. Don't ask her how the man's doing. Don't ask about the kids. Don't ask one question. Pretend you're us. Right? And you can't say anything until her free will opens the door. It'll be a very interesting exercise for you.
Okay.
That zip the lips thing. You'll get
it's getting a little easier. But
your lips are bleeding, but you've been keeping them shut. Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. That's the story. And now it's the
Yeah, well, the neck thing, we know a lot of people are having neck issues. You guys having neck issues? Your neck's flaring up? Yeah, part of what's going on with the neck thing is the changing energetics always affect the neck thing. The neck thing is always about control, right? So part of what's happening is the energetics are changing so radically that you're looking for a sense of control in the energetics. So imagine we have the canoe with the paddle, remember, down the river? The neck thing happens when you're like, I need to control exactly where my boat is in the river. when you can say, I'm going to navigate my boat around rocks and obstacles, but not have to say, I need to be on that molecule of water in order to feel safe. So if you're having neck issues, what we'd invite you to say is there an obstacle here? Right? Because what you're doing is you're like hyper vigilant for obstacles rather than awareness of there not being obstacles. And part of it for you is if I don't have the comfort of obsessively thinking about money, then I got to tense up because, oh shit, I'm totally in new territory.
Yeah.
So you're trying to control the fact that you're letting go.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah.
God.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's another step. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. I was just going, I'm willing, but it didn't feel like it was enough.
You're
and
not
then,
really willing.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
You
Okay.
can't lie with the I am
Yeah.
willing tool. The I am willing tool isn't for lying. Use the what is true now tool. What is true now is, wow, there's an empty space in me and it's getting filled by I don't know.
Okay.
And I have a big brain and a very capable demeanor, and I don't want to fill it up with I don't know. I don't. You don't.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to fill it up with I don't know, or you would. We wouldn't have to be here because you would already be filling your life with I don't know as if it were just a picnic. You don't. You fill it up with as certain as I can be and still, come off like a light worker. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, can I still pass if I went into certainty today 1,400 times and I didn't write it in my notebook? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go sit down. You're excellent work. Excellent.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Well, when we gave it to you, last time we were here with you guys, we were kind of fired up and we know we yelled and we know that sometimes that's kind of hard to take. And sometimes in us, we just feel a sense of you're on the cusp of something so fabulous that we're like a baby. We don't have a lot of range of opportunities to express. What does a baby do? It cries, it giggles, it laughs, it chortles or whatever babies do, right? It doesn't have the nuances of adult expression. It can't get up and walk away. It can't. So for sometimes we feel like we've got, 5 or 6 things we can do, right? We can make a joke. We can talk quietly. We can talk loudly. We can shout. We can cuss. Really, there might be a couple more, but so sometimes we feel like we've used them all and we don't have anything left but to scream and cuss at the same time. So we scream and cuss at you guys, but not at you, just at a expression of it all. And it was a big meeting, it seems like it was a long time ago now, a distant memory, but it was a big meeting. And we're really just at such an important time right now. And when we say important time, what we mean is this. There's such a huge opportunity for you guys to grab. There's a huge opportunity for you to grab energetically, right? And when we said all that and we screamed and yelled, and you got up and you said you owned your money issue in a way that was very clear. And we've talked to you about this for a very long time. But the way you owned it was different. And because you owned it in a different way, and you can imagine with your new friend, if she owned it in a way, you could do more for her. Right? Can you feel that? You can all feel that. If the woman came and owned it in a way, if she said, Randy, I have a job interview, but I need a ride. You'd be like, I'll drive you, right? So when you own it in a certain way, we can give you more. This is just such a good example. It's ripe with all kinds of spinoffs. So when you stood up and really for the first time owned it on a new level, you drew out of us that tool. And when we were saying it to you, we remember Veronica was thinking, this is heavy. This is a big ask. You're making a big ask of her. And we were like, yeah, we're going to see what she does with it too. And that's why we're like, bring that book next time, because we wanted to see if you would. And when you stood up and you didn't have it in your hands, we were like, And then when you picked it up and paged through all those pages, we were like, okay. What that tells us, it's the same thing as if this woman said to you, our example. I have a job interview, but I don't have a ride. I have a job interview, but I don't have anything to wear. Right? You know what to do then. But if she never says I have the job interview, you don't know what to do. You can't help her. This is the example of all examples of what we do with you guys. And that's why we say, fight to get to that microphone, because if no one gets up there, what can we do? We can only base it on what Veronica has opened for us, or maybe in a private session, like it cracks open the door a little. But when you're here in the room and you say it, you say that, then we can go where it's like the water can flow down that path, you know? So we came up with that tool, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and we knew it was going to ask a lot of you, and we wondered if you could stick with it. You know, we wondered. And, you know, Veronica did it, and it changed her life. Without a doubt, it changed her life. It changed her internal experience of herself.
Absolutely. One thing I meant to say that I didn't, that was super powerful, was you had made a quick comment, maybe there will be a book in it for you. Yeah. And that stuck in the back of my mind, because that's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, write a book. And so I found myself a couple of times when I was writing something that I thought was kind of funny. Oh, okay, maybe this is the book. Well, I wonder if this is the book. And I also found myself writing in my book, in my notebook, in a censored way that I might use for a book. And I realized, wait a second, I'm not even giving myself permission to be true to myself here. It's like, I don't.
All right, so now we have to fess up.
Okay.
True confession time. Okay. We added that in specifically to trigger you.
Okay.
Like, we specifically added that in because we thought either you would do what you just did, or you would think, this is how I'll get the money, and you wouldn't do the workbook because you think, oh, I'll just write a book and that'll solve all my financial problems.
It made me aware that I wasn't feeling worthy enough to write my own thoughts down. Thank you.
Are you set?
I'm set. I don't even want to say anything. Just go for it.
Oh, you have to say something.
Okay. Well, I had an interesting meeting, and after the meeting, I had an interesting time as well. And I was just curious about, the severity of the experience.
A little background. At our last Wednesday night meeting, we talked to Randy for an extended period of time because she is the one that helped us develop the notebook tool. The week before, we had given her the notebook tool in response to a long-standing obsession about money. How many times a day did you determine approximately you've caught yourself thinking about money things?
How many times a day? 100 at least. Yeah.
That's an obsessive thought pattern, right? So, 100 times a day, you caught yourself thinking about money issues. And it's very clear that no matter what your money situation is, unless you're trading stocks for a living, you probably don't need to think about money 200 times a day.
Yeah. And first thing in the morning when I woke, like Veronica,
as
soon as I woke up, cascading thoughts. And right before bed, cascading thoughts.
Yeah.
I dream about it.
So we gave Randy the notebook tool. That was 10 days ago. No, because we missed. It was the 30th of June. That's right. So we gave that to you, and then we took the 4th of July off, and then you came back on July 11th, and we sat down. You got to stand up and walk us through the experience of working with the notebook tool, and it was unbelievably powerful. Right? You were there. Yeah, big. It's huge. So after the meeting, some interesting things occurred in you, and you fell down and smashed your face into the cement. That's pretty much the summary of how it went. Yeah. So now you have very interesting colors on your face, although it does seem to be healing very fast.
Yeah, it's actually
because that was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So you're doing.
It's going good with no pain.
That's really nice. And what was really interesting is the people who were still there when this happened, everyone gathered together and did a lot of healing and got ice packs and pain pill or whatever and bandages and all that stuff. And you got to really receive a lot of love. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that too.
Yeah. That idea of... Part of what Randy shared last week was that she had met a homeless woman and was working with her in various ways. She also shared that previous to this moment, that had been one of her greatest fears, the idea that she would become homeless because of the money worries, right? She'd become homeless. And so you were helping the homeless woman, and you were giving a lot of love. And underneath that, what we feel was, okay, great. I see that being homeless, I could handle it.
Resilient.
Thank you. We're glad we didn't have to say it. Right?
Yeah.
But what you hadn't yet felt was, if I was homeless, someone would love me.
Well, Veronica said, that never happened. We'll never let that happen.
Yeah.
And I went,
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a side remark.
Yeah.
So I went, wow. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Underneath that feeling of, there was always the fear of, I could be homeless. Then you met the homeless woman who was kind of making it work, having the cheap hotel room, but not really making it work, but trying. Mm-hmm. And you thought, oh, well, we're gonna put it into we're gonna speak for you, and you tell us if we've got it right.
Sure.
But we're pretty close.
Okay.
We think, yeah. Okay, so here's the homeless woman, and you're thinking, there's my worst fear. Then you see that she's, got this cheap hotel room, and somehow she's holding it together. And underneath, you're thinking, God, I could do being homeless better than you do being homeless, right? If I were a homeless person, I could be a good homeless person, right? Yeah,
That's
okay, of course.
I'd move this around. I'd do this.
She's redecorating the homeless woman's cheap
get
hotel
rid of
room.
this stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah. So then it's like, so being homeless isn't so bad.
That's right.
I could do this, right? So then it stops being quite as scary.
Yeah.
Which is like, all right, okay, it stops being quite as scary. But another part of you, so that's one track of thought, right? So that one's all taken. You've resilienced your way out of that one. Now we're going to go the deeper level. My greatest fear is being homeless. And my greatest fear is being homeless and not having resources, not having assets, not having skills, not having ability. And all of that you could probably still manage because you're a get shit done kind of woman. You could find a way. But the thing you couldn't guarantee inside of yourself is that I would be loved. I could lose everything and I'd still manage. But because of, how it was when you were a kid, there isn't that feeling of, there's a guarantee of love. There may not be a guarantee of money either. And I've managed that. But is there a guarantee of love? So you fall on your face and you hurt yourself. We do like to say fall on your face.
Yeah, no, I know. As my doctor said, you took a face plant.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Technical.
Yes. We haven't gotten to say to anyone before, you fell on your face. And because we know you so well, we can just keep saying it till we're done because it's a new experience. You fell on your face and you felt immediate and rather extreme love.
Yeah.
From, a good quantity of people. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 that we can think of right off the... Mary George even kissed you on the cheek.
I know. Yeah, it was amazing.
And petted you a little. Yeah, we saw it. We were there. So, abundance comes in many, many, many faces. Right? Has many faces. And a lot of times when you obsess about financial abundance, it's because really deeply you're so afraid that the other forms of abundance are out of reach. And for you as a child, there was no abundance of parental love. There was wasn't there.
Right.
And your I'll be resilient energy took the place of the honesty about, am I lovable? Am I loved? Am I going to be loved? And the worry about money filled up all the empty space, right?
Yeah.
So you crack open the worry about money, obsessive thinking using the notebook tool, and then you get to see a deeper level. Now, because you're who you are, you fall on your face to learn it. You're like, I'm not going to do that again. Okay, don't do that again.
Yeah.
But really, a few scrapes, a visit to the dentist later, look what you know.
Yeah.
That you didn't know at 7:00 on Wednesday night.
Right. Oh, and I knew it was all good. I'm just getting validation about what I...
Oh, yeah. No, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. So now are you doing your notebook tool some more?
Yeah.
And are you still doing it about money?
No, I'm doing it about the man
Yeah.
that this gal was living with.
Yeah.
And I'm also was doing a little bit about money coming in there. So a couple different things, actually.
And so when we sat down with you today, you said that about 100 times a day you caught yourself. How many times a day do you catch yourself keeping track of these 2 or 3 things you're keeping track of?
Oh, like 10. Yeah, money's about maybe 3. And actually when it comes up, it isn't what it ever, it doesn't have the intensity at all that it had before. And it's easier to say, oh, no, and then move on to something else. There's room for other things. And it took me, I like to write. So it took me, a couple of weeks to do it every day diligently. But I like carrying my notebook around and I like to write. But it doesn't take that long to have the shift. I mean, huge. Well, how I was, 3 weeks ago and how I am now from that is completely to be able to help this homeless woman and give her money when I thought that I was strapped. And I'm like, I can give money anywhere, pretty much anytime. Now, my current experience hasn't been the flow that I would still like, but I'm open to receiving, and I'm also open to not having the static in the way.
And that's the thing, you have to be really careful. We would say we'd like you to dump those 2 words, the flow and the receiving words.
Okay.
Let's just not use those anymore.
Okay.
You specifically, and you guys, if you like this idea, take it yourselves. But for you, when you said flow and receiving, it was old Randy.
Okay.
So let's just not even involve that in the equation.
All right.
It's clear that everybody we've ever met thus far could use money and probably more money. So we don't have to talk, I want more flow, right? That's just a given. I need to breathe air.
Okay.
Fair enough? Until you're all billionaires, probably we don't have to have that. So let's just put that in I have to breathe air category.
Okay.
And I'm open to receiving makes it sound energetically like it's some magical thing that if you stand in just the right position, it'll happen, right? So let's not do that either. Let's just say I'm open to the truth of this. Because the truth is I need money to pay bills, buy food, and have fun, right? So that's a fact. And we'd like you to get into the space where that is as real as breathing. That's your goal. It's as real as breathing that you don't, and not, I need flow, I need flow, I need flow, as real as breathing, but it's just a fact. It's just a fact. You need to drink water, eat food, breathe. Those things happen. Money coming in the same category. Same category. And you don't think about breathing. You don't think about, is there enough air, right? It's just part of it. So instead of saying I'm flow and receiving, be in, I'm open to unveiling the full truth of my relationship to this issue. I'm open to knowing what is true now about this at every moment. Isn't that much more fun than I'm open to receiving? Like I'm open to knowing my full truth about this in any moment.
And this being whatever is in the moment.
Yeah, this being, like when you were writing in your notebook, right? What we said to you is catch when you're being obsessive and ask yourself what is true now. That's really what you want about money and whatever else is bugging you, is to catch when you're being obsessive and know what is true now. The flow and receiving thing is so old energy and weird that,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm open to knowing what's true now about this.
Okay. I can do that.
We know you can. So yeah.
Yeah.
And you get the badge of saying I learned through falling flat on my face, which not everybody's got that one.
That's
so
true.
It's special. You could even draw it if you felt like it.
That's
what the I learned through falling flat on my face badge looks like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. There was really no downside. There's no pain. There was no downside. So, which was amazing in itself that this experience has no downside.
What did we?
Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
But what did we tell you guys? Bliss is a state with no opposite. So if you can learn by falling flat on your face and coming up with one less tooth and a bunch of scabs on your nose, that's what bliss is like. Now you can say, but I thought bliss was bunnies and rainbows. We've told you for decades, the bliss is not bunnies and rainbows. Bliss is a state with no opposite, a state where this can happen and you can still be in fascination, growth, unfolding, awareness. Like if we had said to anybody 8 years ago, by the way, you're going to fall flat on your face and knock a tooth out and not know what the hell's going on for 20 minutes And that is going to be an experience that you're going to be able to have neutrally and actually find that there's no downside to it.
Yeah.
Right? No one would have come back. That would have been a great way to make sure no one ever came to see us again. Mm-hmm. Yet here it is.
Yeah.
So what we said instead was you're going to learn to be in a state that has no opposite, where you stop being in duality. Instead of it being bad or good, it is. And you can actually live in is. This is proof right here in front of your eyes. And she's not making it up because you can tell by her body language. She's like, right? If we did the wrist thing, she'd be like, it's hitting the floor each time, right? Because you're totally relaxed right now.
Yeah. Say, well, that happened.
Yeah. And it's not even, oh, that happened as much as that is, right? Because it's not that happened like, oh, I'll be resilient because that thing happened. It's that is.
Yeah. Actually, when I was in the state of becoming conscious of what was happening after I fell and then I was laying down, and I started feeling my shoulders going, oh, I got to get Veronica home. I got to get up. I got to drive. I got to, and then just relaxed into everybody's taking care of it. I don't have to do anything. I can just experience this. Mm-hmm. So I just lay there and breathe. Mm-hmm. And it was fine. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting. It was fascinating. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why we like that word fascinating, because it's not a word attached to anything with an opposite, right? It's not good, which goes with bad, or fun that goes with, boring. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Right? It's just fascinating.
Yeah. Even in a semi-conscious state, I was still being as conscious as I could be from the meeting and from all your tools that you give us and everything. It was, without it, I wouldn't have been able to be at this state. So I want to thank you for that, for sure.
You're welcome.
And the notebook and everything. I couldn't have shifted my relationship to money or my husband or anything without this information. Mm-hmm. You have to use it, though,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a vacuum cleaner. You got to push it around the house every once in a while, or there's no point in owning one.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Go forth and sit down.
I'll see you Wednesday.
We'll be here Wednesday. Not here, but you know what we mean. We'll be there.